Welcome to the post-game episode of The Independent after Notre Dame's 49-10 victory over Navy. Matt, a lot of mutual respect here tonight. As the snow is coming down most of the second half, bit of a snow globe vibe here atop Notre Dame Stadium now. But we were talking about this before we hit the record. Like, it's been a minute since I think you would describe Notre Dame as like, man, they just played really well. And they played really well tonight, and they were also kind of like ruthless about it. No penalties, no turnovers. They were the team that kept coming when usually that's like sort of Navy's domain. And it was an impressive performance because I think that, NC State second half was really good. Arkansas was good throughout. But it's just been a minute since Notre Dame's like whipped somebody. And tonight was that night because they absolutely whipped Navy tonight.
Yeah, and the more disciplined team, too, with Navy on the field as well. I mean, I thought it was, given the elements as well, very strong performance. Obviously, Chris Ash passes that Navy first test with flying colors. 2 hours and 57 minutes in a primetime NBC game. That, my friends, is magic, the magic of dominating the triple option. I think, were you grumbling to yourself a little bit when E.S. Williams broke out that touchdown and they did not score 42 points like you predicted every single week this season?
Just sticking with it. I mean, I thought 42-21 was going to look good for a while. And then, it kind of fell apart right before halftime. But look, Notre Dame is a 40-point per game offense that has not been scoring 40 points per game recently. Tonight, they could have gone 56. They could have gone 63. 63. My math works on that one. Like they could have
with the extra points. Yeah, they could have kept going.
I mean, the extra point, like that was part of the cleanness, right?
Yes.
No penalties, no turnovers, no missed kicks. And like that sort of like when you get out of your own way and let sort of the talent rise to the top, when you have a running back who can score while like sort of surfing on top of defenders, on his butt, like that stuff is always there. If you can cut out the kind of the crap that has sort of afflicted them recently, then Notre Dame looks more like a team you're like, oh, okay, this is a make a run in the playoff type team opposed to just make it to the playoff type team.
Yeah, and look, it's tough to judge like passing numbers in a Navy game.
Yeah.
But CJ Carr going 13 of 16 for 218 yards and 3 touchdowns is as good as it gets, especially when you get to sit him in the third quarter. Which I don't
and like
think
one of those there was a Malachi Field just like stone cold drop in there too. I mean, he should have been 14 of 16.
They were efficient all across the board. It was very, very impressive performance all around. You mentioned the no penalties. You mentioned when's the last time we've like said, hey, great performance, nothing to really nitpick. When's the last time we started one of these and we're not having something about officiating? And again, 0 penalties has something to do with that, but it was nice for that. Actually, Blackledge thought the roughing at the end was should have not have been called on Navy, but it was a very smooth performance overall. It followed, I said this a little bit in the pregame show on Wednesday, like it seems like every home game for the outside of A&M has followed a theme of like, we're going to mess around here for a little bit and make our fans a little bit uncomfortable at halftime, wondering what the heck just happened, and then just stomp out any hope whatsoever in the third quarter. And I wouldn't even go so far as to say they were uncomfortable in the first half here. It's just that they were so dominant so quickly in the second half that it just ended the game very, very early. But I mean, Purdue, Boise State, NC State, USC, all to varying degrees were either in doubt or had you scratching your head at halftime of like, what's going on here? And outside of the USC game, which, ended up being a fairly close game, none of them were really games going into the fourth quarter. This one, it'd be a stretch to call it a game. And look,
I mean, in the fourth quarter? No.
Yeah, I'm saying at halftime. We got to at least mention Blake Horvath was hurt, and that sucks for Navy.
Sure.
I don't think it would have made a difference. In fact, I think the lack of him, and I don't know what Notre Dame's preparation was. I didn't know he was hurt. Maybe that's, shame on me. I don't know what kind of prep Notre Dame did for no Blake Horvath. It feels like that almost worked to Navy's advantage in the short term as far as like the first quarter. But, Navy's offense is Navy's offense. You want a seasoned vet back there. Notre Dame has seen this time and time again. And, they did the damn thing. I mean, you'll take that death by a million paper cuts field goal to end the first half.
Sure.
And
especially
then,
when you get the ball coming out of halftime.
And then never have them threaten again. I mean, it was as complete a performance. We all had our questions about why this was a primetime game when it got announced as a primetime game. And the fact I'm still wondering that is probably a good sign for Notre Dame, because if this was lived up to its primetime billing, like the last 2 home primetime Notre Dame games did, that probably would not have been a good thing for Notre Dame. But for them to answer the bell and look like a top 10 team in the country, undoubtedly, I think was really, really strong. Joshua Perry in the post game had said, this, I don't know if it's obviously a compliment, but like you heard, you're like, oh yeah, of course. He's like, well, if they had this offense last year, they would have won the national championship. And it's like, yeah, but that's kind of how it goes. Sometimes I think you could play the what if games with a lot of these teams across the country in any given year. Also, Blackledge and Noah Eagle mentioned it at the end, 50th anniversary of Rudy's sack, and Rudy was in the house.
Oh, got lost. That
could have been a podcast guest.
Yeah.
Hey, Stormy, Independent Bump. She got a great game tonight.
Yeah,
that's Louisville. The Jeff Brown special.
Of the 3 people on the midweek podcast, our guest got the best game by far in terms of like neutral drama. But yeah, I just think that like you look at Navy on 3rd and 4th down, like they have to live there and dominate that sort of situational part of the game. They finished 3 of 11 on 3rd down. They were 0 of 1 on 4th down. And I think the 0 of 1 on 4th down was kind of one of those story of the game type moments, like when the game was over before the game was over kind of things, where they threw Braxton Woods in, I think, for a 1-yard loss or stoned him for no gain like that. I love the way that the front 7 came out tonight, and, to borrow Marcus Freeman from last season when they did stuff like this on a week by week basis in October, November, like they were violent. They bowed Navy back. Like there was not, I think, their fullback finished with 5 carries for 20 yards with a long of 13. Like they couldn't establish anything up the middle. They had a long run of 40. They didn't have a 20-yard run other than Braxton Woodson's 41-yard, which again was like a pass play that turned into a scramble. I love sort of that reverse that they got them down by the goal line for their almost their one touchdown, basically. That was it. I mean, it was a very, very impressive performance by the defense. It felt buttoned up. It felt professional. It felt like Jack Kaiser and Howard Cross and Riley Mills and Xavier Watts were out there tonight. And I don't think I could give this defense a better compliment than that one. That's what it looked like. That's what it felt like tonight.
Agree 100%. Marcus Freeman said afterward, Boubacar Traore was held up essentially for matchup. So
at the end of when they're coming over to the alma mater, snow's on the ground, and there were 2 players sprinted from one corner of the end zone to the other, and then did like I'm sliding into home head first slide through the snow. Boubacar Traore and Christian Gray. So I think they're both probably in pretty good shape.
Okay. Did Jaden Grayhouse do it? Because I know we're going to get questions about that.
No, I think he was just standing there. So
okay. Well, yeah.
Make of that what you will.
We'll see. But yeah, but the Boubacar thing, he didn't say it was injury though, right? Marcus Freeman?
No, he was just like, we could have put him out there in, 3rd down situations. Maybe it was kind of like, maybe we could have or should have. They played a lot more of like a heavy defensive line tonight. Like a lot more like Josh Burnham. They rotated defensive tackles quite a bit. Jordan Botello. It's not like Traore couldn't have played tonight based on his slide, but it's just like, I guess I was a little surprised he didn't get like 15 snaps, but whatever. Navy only ran 55 plays. This was like a crazy short game, thankfully, for a night game. Notre Dame 57 plays, Navy 55. Like this went fast, even though it felt like it took forever to get started.
Just look at the post-game notes from Notre Dame right now. Last time they did not have a penalty in a game.
Was it LSU in 1997?
Say you might not have been covering this.
No, it was not. Thank God.
Okay.
I think it was a freshman in high school or a freshman in college at that point. Excuse me. Or maybe it was in my sophomore year. I was definitely not watching was it the Independence Bowl? They played like LSU twice in the same season.
It doesn't say.
Okay.
This is 97 victory. LSU was number 11 at the time.
Yeah, I think maybe they lost the bowl game and won in the regular season, so I'm guessing it was the one in the regular season penalty-free game. But yeah, I thought that, like, especially like how much, I'm sure we talked about this in this podcast last week and when I was in Boston, like some of the penalties were just like, guys, like what are you doing?
All the extras.
Yeah, just like the extra stuff, and to cut that all out. And I think that was something I tried to get into a little bit with Marcus post game semi-successfully. Like, I wonder if we're at the point of the season now where the players are taking the team over a little bit more, because this really was not I don't think this was like a great player-led team at the start of the year. Not because the leaders were poor. I just think that they were new. They weren't all 6-year seniors and 5th-year seniors. And I feel like I got sort of mixed vibes on that. Marcus seemed to indicate, no, like the coaches have to like keep holding their feet to the fire, as if kind of like, we're going to keep holding their hands or yanking their arms out of their sockets to drag them forward. But then Jaden Osbury came in and he's like, no, I think I hear more like player accountability and people not getting bent out of shape when they get yelled at by their teammates. So I got to think they're moving in a good direction where the team is kind of maturing a little bit. But I don't think this is my work is done here as the coaching staff. Like the players are kind of driving the bus now. So I think the team had to grow up and mature a little bit, but I think that's kind of a little bit of what we saw tonight. But again, as a response to Boston College, I think we're all guilty of sort of like something happened one time. It's a trend. Like they had no penalties one time. They played great in a ruthless style of football for the first time in a month. It's one time. But I think if you're Marcus,
they hit all their extra points.
They hit all their extra points one time. I would just say, like, if you're going to Pittsburgh, this was a good performance to go to Pittsburgh with, on the back of, especially like with Pittsburgh on a bye. To play well and play clean, that's significant. That's a thing.
You were, again, shades of the Little Giant scene when you kept saying one time there. That's a kid's sports movie. I know you don't like those because you don't like Mighty Ducks either, but it's also a classic that is a popular one in our household. The broadcast did talk a little bit, though, about what you were mentioning as far as leadership and the path to the playoff and how Marcus Freeman just kept having to harp with this group. Just because we did it last year doesn't mean we're automatically going to do it again this year. Like, we need to have that killer instinct. We need to dominate. We cannot let up. And I think, your actions speak louder than your words. And tonight, those actions were extremely loud. It was as complete a performance as they've had all season long. And I think that's telling, one, because it was after a not great performance at Boston College, but also, and they're going to say they don't pay attention to this, but there's 100+ people in that locker room, and some of them certainly do. Like, after the committee essentially came out Tuesday and so many words said you're guaranteed a playoff spot, just don't screw it up, to not give your B effort, but to still have that edge and give your A+ effort in a game you're probably going to win no matter what, I think is a sign of a mature football team, and definitely trends well going into what, will be your last remaining test next week at Pittsburgh. They also mentioned O'Malley's exchange with Freeman, although they didn't mention Tim O'Malley by name, but just Marcus Freeman bringing up the 569-yard, I think, performance he gave up at Cincinnati in 2017. And then you mentioned Osbury. Great week for that family, huh? The guy leads the team in tackles. His dad gets the full-time AD job. And I don't know if that's a good thing or not, given how, ADs have lasted at LSU lately, but he'll get to hire a big name.
Or the proximity of the son of the LSU AD to the Notre Dame head coach. That's a joke. That's a joke. That's a joke.
It's almost midnight. You're forgiven.
Yeah, thank you.
We're going to get to questions here in just a second. Before we do that, I want to thank a couple of our sponsors. First, our friends at Obvious Shirts, OBVIOUSSHIRTS.com. Great pod merchandise, quarter zips, t-shirts, hoodies, crew necks, and much more. Thanks, as always, to our friends at Obvious Shirts.
And our friends at Roback, that's RHOBACK.com. Promo code Irish for 20% off your first order. Crews, vests, polos, hoodies, shorts, joggers, tees. I got a Roback vest on right now with the Roback crew underneath. Got me nice and warm on this snowy, blustery December in November evening here in South Bend. So go to roback.com, promo code IRISH for 20% off your first order.
And thanks to our friends at DraftKings. One play can change everything. One snap can silence a stadium. Each weekend, the stakes get higher and higher. No one gets you closer to it all than DraftKings Sportsbook, the #1 sportsbook for live betting. From live betting to odds boosts and so much more, DraftKings Sportsbook has everything you need to stay in the action from kickoff to the final whistle. New customers, this one is for you. Bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get paid out $300 in bonus bets instantly. Oh, and every Saturday with DraftKings, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code INDEPENDENT. That's code INDEPENDENT to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. Partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. Pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21-plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio limited time offer. Before we get to questions, I want to shout out the Bolin family. They were on the field at Penn State today. They saw me. They said, Matt, love the Independent. We're here as guests at Penn State. We're Notre Dame fans. Don't tell anyone. Sorry, I spoiled it for you all. Got a picture with your son, Luke. Your son, Eli, is adorable. You guys are awesome. Hope you guys had fun today and hope you're listening. Hope your kids are sleeping, but get to listen to this tomorrow. Andre King, y'all late. Nice to see you too, Andre. Thanks for joining us and staying up. Well, I guess there's a lot of people wanting to go. Let's go. This is like the quickest post game we've ever done. Like,
yeah,
you literally were texting me from the press conference. Like,
Devonta Smith was still talking about returning from injury and his advice he's giving to Jaden Greyhouse. And I'm like, Matt, let's get the room up on StreamYard.
The Steel Horseman, get the snow off and come on. That'd be you, Pete. Was it someone? There was actually one in here about the weather. Yeah, Sarah McGuire. Pete, was the snow as bad as it looked in some of the TV shots?
No, it wasn't. Although, like now that the game's ended, it picked up a lot post game, or as the game was ending. But I thought like it was almost more kind of like wintry mix vibes. So no, it's like the weather. I didn't think it was as bad as like some of those like backed up camera shots that they shoot into lights and it just looks like it's pure precipitation. I've seen a lot worse weather. I think you'd probably argue the USC game was quite a bit worse than this one.
Oh yeah, I'm sure that was.
Heck, Purdue was worse than this one. So
Sarah else says, "Nice win, Irish. That game looked cold and miserable to play in." I think those games look amazing to play in. Personally,
we're having a good time. I don't know. There was an interesting line of questioning. Someone was asking about like, what's it like having a Midwest quarterback who you know is like great in this weather? And like CJ Carr was like, it's good. I like it, I guess. Like you see those Southern quarterbacks, you know, like I got him. And I'm like, I don't know. The USC game was Jaden Maeva is not from Minnesota.
Steel Horseman, my bald brothers. Rye Burke got the home run pizza in the oven, boys.
Yeah, let's go. I gotta get the press box to start serving home run and pizza instead of Papa John's.
Yeah, get on that. You got one game left to do it. Well, one guaranteed home game left to do it, perhaps. Yeah. Neil Healy. Carr looked amazing today. He was changing plays at line, recognizing blitzes, and shifting protection like a pro. And what a beautiful deep ball. It's crazy. He's 19.
He's
good. 19? Is he? He's got to be, right?
I gotta catch his birthday. I wonder if he had like a Jimmy Clausen vibe here where he's like a 21-year-old sophomore. I don't think that's true.
It could be. I mean, a lot of those.
I mean, he's great.
20, he's 20. He'll be 21 in May, according to the AI version of Google. Which
I mean, he's great. I am totally down with what Neil's saying here. Like, I think his ability to connect on a deep ball, like the one to KK Smith was just like that looked because earlier they were watching highlights waiting for this game to start. And Julian Sayin threw one to Jeremiah Smith where I was like, damn, what a ball. And that was a little bit like this one. So, CJ, when he corks it, it's impressive. Like, and there was one, I think it ended up in a PI, and he got drilled when he threw it. But, I mean, it was just like kind of a wrist flick 50-yard ball. It was in the third quarter, I think, and Cam Williams couldn't come down when they got interfered with. But I'm sitting there thinking, like, man, I used to watch Drew Pine struggle to get the ball 15 yards down the field. Like this is good looking. This is good looking football from a quarterback who's not played a whole lot of it. I mean, at this point, he's going to absolutely obliterate the single season pass efficiency record. Like it's not even going to be close. So yeah, more power to him on that one. He's really fun to watch.
Also saw LeVar Arrington today and said, "Hey, we had Brady on the show, and he was talking smack about you."
So he actually made it back from. Was he coming back from California? I can't remember what the. Yeah,
he was coming back from Penn State. So
yeah,
I don't know where he's going, but yeah.
Nice
Zachary Kaiser, do we think the J Love play is worthy of a Heisman moment?
I wrote this in my post game takeaways. Like, if J Love, or some people call him Jeremiyah Love, I don't know why I'm referring to him that way, but
Love.
Yeah, if he makes it to New York, those kinds of plays are going to get him there more than how much did you run for? Like, what's your average yards per carry? Like, we live in a we live in a sports landscape where can a video show up on Twitter or not?
Right.
Jeremiyah Love is a video who shows up on Twitter. So to go Boston College 94-yard run, 94, yeah, where you're trying to scream at Jaywan Sider, your running backs coach, for about 40 of those yards, to about riding over Navy defenders after he spun out of a guy who had him just dead in the backfield. I think I counted
that was more impressive. Like, I'm not. I say this in the highest of compliments. I could think at least off the top of my head 3 more impressive Jeremiyah Love runs than this.
Yeah,
one.
I mean it's just
actually 4. You got the BC last week, Indiana last year, Penn State last year, and I think his opening touchdown against USC this year, he was even deader to rights than he was in this one. And this was a great play, but I saw that I'm Michael Dyer, Auburn championship game against Oregon. That's immediately what I thought.
I've seen it before,
but again, he's that freaking good. He just makes, and we didn't even talk about. I mean, a 5th play, the hurdle against USC last year.
Oh God!
Where he just stayed in stride. I'm not being facetious. Like I say, I just named 5 plays off the top of my head. I'm sure I could find others that were more impressive the way he did tonight, which could be a Heisman moment. I don't think he's going to win it, but there's another question in here. I'll just D-Zog 49. Seems pretty obvious they're trying to get Love to NYC. Love got 2 carries while the backups were in. Have to believe they were giving him a shot to go for 95.
I think that. Yeah, he was. I think he's 12 yards short of 1,000. I think they're probably to get to that. They're trying to probably get to 100 yards. He finished 90, 94. I think he leads the nation in touchdowns. He's tied with Lacey from Ole Miss. I think Lacey had 3 today. Obviously, Love had the 2. I think that probably the ceiling is Love, Doak Walker going to New York, first team All-American. Great ceiling. I don't want to sound like, oh, well, he can't win the Heisman, but it's a quarterback award now. But getting to New York would be a huge, huge deal for Notre Dame, for Jeremiyah Love. And these kinds of highlights are what is going to get him there more than did you rush for 100 yards or did you not? If you lead the nation in touchdowns, that's great. But hurdling, surfing on guys, spinning out of stuff, all that's what's gonna get you on that plane to New York.
Tom F. Love finishes 3rd for Heisman behind 2 QBs, calling it now. 4 go. I think he'll be there. I would keep an eye on Jeremiah Smith getting there. I think he's being slept on. He had a huge game today. Carnell Tate, I think, didn't play. And if he has big games against Michigan and presumably Indiana in the Big Ten title game, that'll be hard to ignore. I just wonder if Ohio State's going to split the votes among several players on that team. Yeah. Also, I saw Fernando Mendoza today. He's winning it, plain and simple, barring anything on. You could criticize Indiana all you want, and I think there's validity there, but he won them that game today, and he's really freaking good. But I do think Love, they're going to have to find a balance, right? How much you want to use him against Syracuse and Stanford. But that's what would be prohibiting him. Are we too good for the remaining competition?
Yeah.
And we need you for maybe 4 more games after this.
Right. But if all this takes is he had 14 touches today.
Right.
That's fine. That's a good place to be.
Look at all this Heisman talk. Realistic goal next year. CJ Carr's invited to the Heisman ceremony. I'd say he'll be the hot betting offseason favorite.
Yeah.
Well, not favorite, but like one of the guys that are talked about a lot.
Yeah, 100%.
Roberto Sanchez, amazing Indiana catch on the receiver. I'm aware. Thank you. I was actually like 10 feet.
It was a hell of an. It was.
I actually have a video online of the divot where he landed. If you want to go check it out. There was a good one here about draft stuff. Where is it?
Yeah, maybe Dane Brugler should be a future independent return guest because I think we're.
Well, last time we did that, his wife announced the next day she was pregnant with twins. I don't know if he wants any more.
Dane, that's up to you.
It ultimately is up to him. Where I missed this draft one. I'll find you wherever you are. All right, the $1 million question. Oh, well, first off, Bill Foos, great picture. Home run pizza boxes, multiple. I see a plane and I see looks like a possible SPO there. Sausage, peppers, onions.
Phenomenal.
What is the deal with Great House? What is the deal with Great House?
I mean, so he was listed as questionable. He comes out. You get here. You watch the pre warm up, like before they get into pads and stuff. He's going through that, and it's not like he's at the back of the pack. He's, I think, maybe second behind Faison or third behind Faison in field. So he's like active. It's the kind of thing that you would think, all right, he's playing today. They go into the locker room, they get dressed, they come out. Lo and behold, he's not dressed. Sweatshirt and sweats. I don't know what to say about it at this point. Other than it doesn't really seem like they need him for the regular season. The whole thing is bizarre. And then, Devonta Smith was asked about, advice for Great House about coming back from injury, but not coming back too soon and re-aggravating. And Devonta Smith's like, I really rushed it. So I set myself back. I re-injured it. But, here I am playing. And I'm like, well, Jaden Greathouse hasn't played since Arkansas. It's been more than a month. I don't know what to say at this point on this one.
I don't want to speak here, but didn't Mizzou do something similar with their backup quarterback now that Bo Prabula got hurt? Like they had a backup. I think it was the guy who played in Vandy. I didn't see the A&M game today.
Yeah.
But they're like, we're going to redshirt him. It's like, you got 2 losses. You're in the playoff. Like, what do you mean redshirt? Like, play football.
And it's like, because they're like Cooper Flanagan was out today. And when we were sort of waiting for interviews, you see guys leaving the building and like, oh, Cooper Flanagan's not practicing. Okay, well, that makes sense as a redshirt. He's actually hurt.
Right.
Then he can come back and play in the playoff. I don't know where we are with Great House. I'm kind of confused on it.
You and me both. I found the draft question. Wait. Yes. Liam Farrell. Outside of Love and Price, what draft eligible non-seniors do you think will declare for the draft? Drury, Schuler, or Bowen, Wagner?
Of
that group, I would guess Schuler, but I'm not saying that's going to happen.
I think no for Bowen. Schuler and Troyer, I think and Wagner will all think about it. This is reason to have Dane Brugler on because I think when I have asked around about Emil Wagner, I get the sense that he's sort of like a late round pick. That's like, is there NFL material there? Yeah. Has he played a lot of snaps? Yeah. Does he really blow you away? No. So I don't know. If I had to guess, I think all 4 of them will be back. But I think Wagner would be the most likely to leave.
I agree. But I misspoke. I got bad information. Zoller's played today. He's fine for Mizzou. Sorry to the 2 Mizzou people who might be listening to this. I think it's funny. We don't have these conversations the way we used to. I feel like we barely have them at all anymore. I mean, even I know last year was a senior heavy team, but I feel like we had very little stay or go conversations about anyone on that roster, which played a national championship game. I just think in
like
this,
you throw Billy Schrouth is probably should be included in this question too.
fair.
I realize he's been banged up quite a bit, but
I
think
just
it's
think
the best of the offensive linemen.
The dynamics of college football now, it's like, why would you teach their own? I'm not judging either way, but like, why would you leave if you're not going to be a first round pick?
Yeah,
like,
first or second, right? Or you play running back where like your career is going to be short,
right?
You know, none of these guys don't fit in that group. So obviously, Love and Price are the group, but the rest of the team doesn't.
Bill Foos again, Fuzz Foos. How lucky are we to see Jeremiyah Love play? And is his only chance for Heisman a true implosion by Mendoza, say against OSU? I have a hard time seeing a quarterback just not getting it in general. I realized that happened last year, but he still controls his own destiny. Again, you're not going to get too many Heisman moments with the games you have left, unless you go for 300 plus yards next week against
which I think the return on that investment is not good.
No. Also, I didn't realize all the history marks. Today's the 50 of Rudy. Next week's the 50 of Tony Dorsett against Notre Dame. Like that 1975 Notre Dame season, I guess, was a lot more memorable in retrospect than any of us gave it credit for.
Yeah, a lot happening that season.
Liam Farrell again. For as much as people say about Chris Ash, is he one of the best coordinators in making halftime adjustments? Defense has been lights out in the second half post A&M. Based on the data, I would concur.
Yeah, and this gets lost to history a little bit, but they played the second half against A&M without a Don Schuler at a time when Tay Johnson wasn't really sure how the pieces fit together, and Leonard Moore was hurt and gutting it out, and Christian Gray was banged up.
Wait. No, wait. Schuler, I thought. Oh yeah, well, no, because the targeting was that game. Yeah. I'm trying to remember
the targeting.
It was in the second half. Yeah.
Yeah, he missed the first half against Purdue. So yeah, I think that the Chris Ash experiment is going quite well at this point. I'm trying to think of coaches who made a worse first impression, but then pulled themselves out of it as quickly and as authoritatively as Chris Ash has done. And honestly, I cannot think of one.
Yeah. Al Golden didn't have, they lost to Marshall, but there were 2 pick sixes in that game. And he had a good game plan against Ohio State a week before.
Yeah. You're not thinking oh God, he's the problem.
Yeah. That's a good one. I don't know who. OC Chuck Martin.
They went to the national championship game, so I think it was fine.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They almost lost on Purdue in week 2.
Yeah, he was on 13 is when he was OC, not 12.
No, 12 he was OC.
Was he?
Chuck.
Oh yeah, you're right. Right. Sorry. You won't be surprised to learn that I can't keep track of any of that straight over the number of years I've been covering assistant coaches, and it's
which leads us to Jay Carr and another assistant who actually had the opposite effect. He had a great first impression, and turned into
that seems more common, frankly.
Turned into the picture we're looking at right now of fire coming out of his eyes. Jay Carr says Pete is already thinking about the noon game next week. Midnight, noon, tomato.
That's awesome. A beautiful, beautiful thing. Going to be a very interesting game and a perfect kickoff time.
Awesome for everyone except recruits, but we're worried about ourselves.
I don't care about Pat Nerds.
Exactly.
He's going to Michigan State.
Mirrored to Jeter. What the heck is going on? Great house, lean in lads, lots of white noise in the bend and beyond. In Irish notice, seems goofy. Investigate reporters. Sign Irish faithful. The mayor says it. We got to follow it.
Yeah, it's a fair. We have asked about him, and Freeman's sort of been. He said what he said. They expect him to play again this season. It feels a little bit like CJ Carr in the elbow last year, where if you had just said he's out, maybe he'll be back in November, we'd be all right, it's fine, he's out. Maybe he'll be back in November.
But this is a guy who's actually playing. CJ Carr is at best a third stringer last year.
Just in a non-story, or a story non-story. I'm not even really sure how to describe this one.
Right.
It's just weird.
It's weird. Made weirder by his presence, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be one. And like even just watching warmups, I feel ridiculous pulling out my binoculars to watch Jaden Greyhouse catch over the shoulder passes and warmups in a t-shirt and shorts. And yet that's what I'm doing. And that's what I'm going to do next week too. But yeah, it's just the whole thing is strange. I don't know how else to describe it. But much like the Carr situation last year, oddly, they don't really need him right now.
Not right now.
Because Will Pauling is just fine.
Not right now. I think you need everybody you can get in a championship.
Totally
run.
agree.
They did not need him in the regular season last year. He was their second best offensive player in the playoff,
yeah.
at least among skill guys. Samuel Cord. Here's a go on question. Pete, how was the reception of your piece on Father Pete?
People really liked it. Yeah, that was a fun story to do. If you're listening to this podcast and haven't read it, you can go to The Athletic and check it out. Basically, is if you've been to home games, you see the call to mass video and you see Father Pete flash on the video board and the student section goes nuts. I always thought that was kind of this cool organic moment. How many games do we go to where it's like the video board says, get loud. And so the fans get loud. And this just sort of like happened. So I didn't really know that much about Father Pete other than he's a basketball team chaplain. But it's clearly like there's an affection for this guy that's just, I don't know, kind of unique. So I kind of did a crowdsourcing thing last weekend where I must have talked to 20 current or former students who wanted to talk to me about Father Pete. And the story was super fun to put together. So I think I mean, Matt, this is kind of inside baseball. It's like sometimes you write stories about people like off the field who are kind of like behind the scenes, and you're like, am I reading this right? Like, am I writing about the right person? And this was one of those times where like, yeah, I was writing about the right person. He is a institution around Notre Dame, and the cheers are, I think, very well deserved from the student section.
Not surprised that one did well. But like, yeah, we've all had those moments, especially at the Athletic, because we do a lot of like off the wall, off field stories there, and some of them were hits, some of them were not. But that one, I'm not surprised. Just like when you've got the fan base that Notre Dame does, that has the religious and like real attachment that they do. I'm
glad to see it. It is more than doubled the views of the Shane Gillis story from earlier in the year. So I feel like it's a bit of a penance piece as well.
I was gonna say it's like the devil and angel on each of your shoulders.
Yeah,
I get on the pod now.
Yeah, two angels are twice as big as the devil, so that's good.
Father Pete, 2 Petes on one pod. Can we handle it?
We'll see. Bump.
A couple of people going back and forth about Trary. I just had there was a really good one that answered our question. Yes, Clint Novak. Ta-da! Marcus Freeman did not have the best debut in 21, and then rolled. Good point. He started 0-3. That one.
Appreciate you, Clint. I was just thinking coordinators, but yeah, it was not good. Not good at all.
Pat Sabkowski, excuse me. Do you guys think Price comes back? Would like to hear your thoughts. Maybe. I like what you said about running backs earlier is kind of my default.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'd heard that they were working on it earlier in the year, and I think that was before USC when he brings the kickoff back for a touchdown. At that point, you're like, well, I don't know, like, what are you going to do here, bud? Like, he was sort of viewed as like RB3 or RB4, which is second round pick. I think the math probably makes sense to leave at that point, but if the NFL is like, you fumbled too much, maybe you come back as like, I mean, if he came back to Notre Dame, he would make a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's something to be said for that as well. He seems, there are some guys that you feel like are, I don't want to say in a hurry to turn pro, but he's not one of them. He seems like a pretty mature, level-headed guy, like old soul is probably how I described Jajarian Price. And like, he might look as like, well, if Emil Wagner and Billy Schrauth come back and Jagasaw is healthy and the rest of the line returns and CJ Carr's here, and like, who'd you guys get? Did you get anybody in the portal at wide receiver? Is like, who's the next Malachi Fields? I mean, the offense next year could, I don't want to say it's going to be better than this one because Jeremiyah Love, like Denbrock's not going to be like, I'm going to call the play where you get blown up in the backfield, and then you sit down on 3 defenders, and
Who's
then
going to do the Wildcat? We know Love next year.
Yeah, we're gonna do that play. Like Notre Dame won't have that play next year, but if I was Price, I'd be like, well, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna get 175 carries. I'm gonna rush for 1,200 yards and make 7 figures while doing it. There are worse things in the world than that lifestyle.
The other part too, I think we got to consider, and the NFL guys are not going to be swayed by 1 or 2 things, but it'll be interesting as the 12-team playoff goes on, how many guys through their performances in playoffs made themselves extra money on that stage with that competition. Like the nation, and again, I assume
which Price has not done, right? Like nothing happened in the playoff last year where you're like, oh, Jadarian Price.
Right. Well, this year, I mean, if they make another run, we'll see. Like Cam Scadaboo last year is a perfect example, at least as far as a guy who wasn't really on too many people's radars.
Yeah.
At least fans of media outside of, people who watch Arizona State who were like, oh, wait, this guy is pretty amazing. And sure enough, he was really good in the NFL before he got hurt. So there are going to be cases like that every year. I mean, Jaden Greathouse was that among college people last year.
And his NIL case.
There'll be that too. So there are going to be people like that every year. This is a really important one. Sarah McGuire again. Can we please address Pete not liking the Mighty Ducks? How about not seeing D2?
I saw the first one.
2 is the best. 1's not bad.
Okay, yeah. Maybe I'll have to revisit this. My kids have sort of aged out of the Mighty Ducks phase, though, which is
no, you never age out of the Mighty Ducks.
I mean, we're not a hockey family.
We're not either.
I don't know. Maybe I'll do some research on this. Is there a Notre Dame connection here that can come up with a funky athletic story about it? Like, is it?
I don't know. Keenan's in it. NBC. I don't know. I'm trying here.
Right. Maybe I'll tell you what. Maybe on the flight to Stanford at the end of the year, I'll watch it. That'd be fine. Does that work for everybody?
You usually take your family on that trip, right?
No, they're not coming this time.
Oh,
I'll be there by myself. Watching D2.
Can watch all 3 of them on that long flight.
I don't think I'm going to. I will say, no, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I'll put it in the queue. How about that?
There you go. Back to football. This is a good one. Zachary Kaiser. If you could be a magician, would you take Al Golden or Chris Ash for the rest of the season?
I would take Chris Ash, which I never thought I would say, but
the
guy spent 9 games learning his personnel. Like as much as I think Al Golden was awesome, and he was, like the personnel is totally different on this. There's the Kaiser, Watts, Mills, Cross stuff is all like Golden really, really relied on those guys. This would be a new group of players to sort of learn, what they can do, what they can't, how to call it, how not to call it. Like, so I think you dance with the date that you brought. I don't know what the saying is there.
Dance with the one that brought you?
Yeah, something like that.
A little Davos Sweeney in you. If you get last year's Al Golden, I'll take it because I know what I'm getting. And I'm not saying you don't know what you're getting with Chris Ash, and he has gotten better and better and better. But there's still that, and I'm not saying Al Golden would have fixed everything, but there's still the scars of A&M. There's the secondary against USC, and when you get deeper in the playoff, you're going to be facing teams and offensive weapons of that caliber.
Mm-hmm.
I'm waiting for someone to ask this. Maybe someone has at some point. I haven't seen it, but as long as we're on the topic, and I say this out of respect for both guys, I have a very hard time seeing the Browns and Bengals not firing their head coaches this year, which means offense coordinator Tommy Rees will be a free agent and defense coordinator of Cincinnati, Al Golden, will be a free agent. Where do we see either of those guys ending up next year?
I don't know. Maybe they'll be
Tommy might be a head coach. He was almost a Carolina coach.
I don't know. Where Al Golden played college ball.
Yeah, but he's not.
I don't know.
He's not going to be the head coach there, and I think they're going to try to keep Knowles, actually, whoever ends up getting that job.
Maybe they'll just be position coaches in the NFL. I'm not sure. But I do think Reese could be a college head coach. It's just I think the jobs that are opening might not be the jobs that would be good for him.
Yeah, we'll see. He was involved with UCLA last time.
Yeah.
Hired Deshaun Foster. Sarah McGuire, bringing the heat again. Is he also not rookie of the year?
Okay.
Actually, My kid did not like that one, and then she broke her arm and rewatched it and thought it was the greatest thing ever.
Oh, okay. Open up. No, I did like Rookie of the Year. I was talking about Sandlot today.
Love that one
with my 12-year-old because we saw there was a pickup truck with 2 St. Bernards with their heads out the window, and he's like, "That looks like the dog from the Sandlot." I'm like, "Yeah, it was kind of a friendly version of that dog." So, yeah, I do like sports movies, Sarah. I like feel good stories.
Movies.
God knows I write them at the Athletic. So
I like kid sports movies more than I like sports movies.
no, I mean Hoosiers.
Yeah.
Come on, that's not that.
Like that's like a rare Hoosiers and Friday Night Lights to me. And I love Rudy. The guy's got his issues. A lot of people don't like him, but the movie is great.
Yeah.
Irish drummer Matt and Pete, do you ever feel like venturing out of the press box in games like these purely to experience that lovely weather? Not specific to this game or this kind of weather, which I am grateful to be covered when there are weather games like this, like USC. I love any chance I get going either in the crowd or on a balcony or just watch. Anytime I'm in a new stadium, especially, I love just trying to like feel the place and going out and about as much as I possibly can. That to me is every bit as valuable, if not more, as far as how I'm reporting, going about my job than just run left 3 yards, run right 5 yards, and keeping play by play.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. I think the walk to, I wouldn't say like the media lot is like really far at Notre Dame from the stadium, but it's not really close either. So you do pick up some energy walking up there. With the weather, I will be walking through the snowstorm going through South Bend. So I'll get it that way. But yeah, I think that the weather wasn't like as big of a deal as I thought it was going to be earlier in the week. Like I thought the weather was going to have a real impact on the game. I'm not sure it actually did.
Nick Vanley shout tonight also squashed the ACC's chirping of ND being too far ahead of them in the CFP rankings. Duke lost to UConn today, and still, I believe, mathematically is the best chance of winning the ACC, and they have 4 losses.
It was a good weekend for Georgia Tech, who didn't play.
Yeah, good point. There's another one in here about Big 12 probably not getting 2 bids because of BYU today. I think.
We'll see.
Well, I think the way BYU lost pretty much.
They're just not as good as Texas Tech.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If Texas Tech keeps this up and then loses the Big 12 title game, perhaps Texas Tech gets it as team number 2. But ACC, short of Georgia Tech running the table, which would include beating Georgia to close the regular season and then losing in the ACC title game, I don't see that.
Yeah. It feels like, I know at the Athletic, our sort of updated math model has Notre Dame as the 8th seed, which would obviously would be hosting against number 9 Texas Tech. I think in the end, Texas Tech is going to be the 8th seed. Like I think Texas Tech will be ahead of Notre Dame because they're going to win out.
Probably.
And
if they win out and win Big 12, yeah, probably.
And then Notre Dame will be the 9th seed, which would either send them to probably either Tuscaloosa, Eugene, or Lubbock. Those would be I think they're Notre Dame's most likely destination.
For 9-8?
For the 8-9. I think Alabama probably will be above the 8.
I would say I don't know. I mean, it could happen, but yeah.
I mean, Alabama could win the SEC too. So maybe the most likely ones are Eugene and Lubbock, which there's a clear winner and loser in that group.
The James Blanchard Bowl. Can't wait.
Oh, I can't. Yeah, you got Chad Bowden and James Blanchard in the same season.
There you go.
He still might be
your stuff, Mike Martin.
Yeah.
Let's let you get out of here. Get to writing. Get to your home. Hey, I've got a 6 a.m. flight, and there's a Hawaii San Diego State game on right now.
Don't watch it, Matt.
Probably keep me up the rest of the night.
Self-control.
I'm not betting on it. I'm just watching it. John Lewis grew up in my wife's neighborhood. We always pull.
You need to show the same discipline that Notre Dame showed tonight with 0 penalties, 0 missed kicks, and 0 turnovers. How's that for a segue getting out of here? How do you spell segue again?
Yeah. Well, by the way, I should correct myself. I only knew that's how you spell it because I made that mistake once in a story, and Notre Dame fans corrected me. So full circle moment.
That's what Notre Dame fans are best at.
Yeah. Yes. Correct. Yes, they are. And making fun of you for your child sport movie taste because there's a lot of this going on.
Yeah.
All right.
But on that note, it's 12:22 a.m. Eastern time. Notre Dame won 49-10 over Navy. They control their path to the college football playoff as long as they win next week against Pittsburgh, which will be a great game. So we will talk about that midweek on their next episode of The Independent. Until then, thanks for joining us. He's Matt. I'm Pete, following Notre Dame's 49-10 victory over Navy.